Floridians are no stranger when it comes to dealing with natural disasters. Those who lived in Polk County in 2004 know firsthand the damages that hurricanes can cause with the passing of Charlie, Francis, and Jean. Here to talk with us today about disaster preparedness is Erin Pagan, Communications Director for the American Red Cross's Mid-Florida region. Welcome.
Thank you.
And if you can, talk to us a little bit about the new initiative that American Red Cross has set up with the Prepare Florida campaign.
American Red Cross across the state of Florida, from the Panhandle all the way down to Miami, has just launched the Prepare Florida effort. And so we just launched this March 1st. It's a 3-year effort, and it's really a landmark initiative because it's the first time that all of our 5 regions across the state of Florida have come together to really work in concert with one another to try to get Floridians all across the state, whether you're a resident here, whether you own a business here, or whether you're just a visitor to the state, to really be prepared. And so what we're trying to work against, of course, is the apathy of living in Florida and knowing that we've all lived through all of these hurricanes, we've lived through flooding, we've lived through wildfires. We're the second most disaster-prone state in the United States. And so knowing that we've all lived through it, it's now time to say, okay, it's time to do something about it. And so what we want to be able to do is to tell everybody we're working in conjunction with all the preparedness campaigns. And so if our preparedness campaign happens to be the one that really resonates with people and they say, wow, we're really not prepared, what can we do? Then we're thrilled. So what we want to be able to do is get some great information out to people. So if you visit redcross.org/prepare Florida, what you'll see is some great information. And one of the things that people can download is a Prepare Florida checklist. And on this checklist, this is something you can put on your refrigerator. And on it, you're going to be able to find out how to get a kit and make a plan. And that's really one of the first initiatives we want people to get involved in doing, because not enough people have the kit that they need at home to be able to be on their own for 72 hours without help.
I'm guilty of that.
So, exactly. So one of the things I brought today is a disaster preparedness kit. And so it is huge because there are so many wonderful things you need to have. And so I just have a couple of items here I want to bring out, but it's certainly not everything. But one of the things is a radio, a battery-powered or hand-crank radio when you don't have power, so you can stay informed of what's going on with the storm, where it's headed, and just to make sure you stay in touch with your emergency management. Obviously, Polk County Emergency Management is one of our great community partners, and you're going to get the information you need. So you need to be able to stay in touch, and by radio is certainly going to be one of those ways.
Now, real quick, with this type of kit, this is something you have to piece together yourself. This isn't, you can buy one already made at the store kind of thing, right?
Actually, you can do both. So you can go to the Red Cross store and you can get one of these that's already put together for you if you would rather do that. But there are lots of folks, you have your favorite store in town, you like to use coupons, and you want to be able to get it as cheap as possible, and we wholeheartedly support that. So feel free to go out and buy yours on your own, but what Red Cross does want to do is be able to get you the tools that you need to make sure that you get all the pieces parts. So we also have a checklist on our website. If you go to redcross.org/mid-Florida, that's our website. You can search our disaster library, and we have a ton of checklists for about every subject you can think of, from tornadoes to floods to pets in disaster, what to do with your pet during a disaster. And one of our checklists is get a kit, make a plan, be informed. And at the very far left side, you will see all the items you need for that 72-hour disaster kit, what to have when you're home. And so you could print this out at home, and it'll print out 8.5 by 11. You don't need this long paper, and you can print it out black and white, and you can take it with you to your favorite store and build your own kit. And the great part about that too is that you can start planning now, because it's not cheap to build a kit, and we know that. So anybody who's on a budget, especially our seniors, take this with you and just get one item a week, and you don't have to have your kit completely ready for June 1st. Certainly the most active part of hurricane season can be between August and October, so if you can just add one item a week to your budget, and you can be ready by the time the really active part of hurricane season hits. And then every year going forward, you don't have to rebuild that kit every single year. All you have to do is make sure your batteries aren't corroded, and the snacks and water that you've put in your kit, make sure everything's fresh and that nothing has expired. So building your kit is extremely important. Have your first aid kit. Have at least a week's worth of medications. A lot of people forget that. During a storm, your pharmacy may not have power, and if you're on medications that you have to take every single day, you may not have those, and so that's extremely important. You want to have family and emergency contact information in a waterproof Ziploc bag, including even a map in case you're not sure of outside surroundings. You know, a lot of people get really used to being very close to home, and if they had to evacuate to a shelter that's maybe in a neighborhood or a community that's just outside of their comfort zone, they may not exactly know their bearings.
Or someone like me who relies on their phone for navigation.
Exactly, and all of a sudden your phone is dead and you don't have a place to charge it because there's no power. And then copies of personal documents, your medication list, who your doctor is, things like that. So having those in a waterproof container is really important. Also, if you want to build your disaster kit in a waterproof bag, we really support that too. This backpack is not, but this is really nice because it's super portable to put on your back. For seniors, lots of times they even put it in a rolling suitcase because this can get really heavy. And for a senior to be able to carry it around, to have it in a little rolling suitcase is really nice. And then having some personal toiletries is really helpful too, because if you were to run out of something and you need to continue to be able to be comfortable and have your teeth brushed and feel like, you know, every day you're still keeping up with your hygiene, to have a hygiene kit is really important. So again, all these items are on our Get a Kit checklist, and so that's one of our resources we have available.
Okay, sounds great. Now, also as part of the campaign, I know the disaster kit's not the only thing.
Yep.
What are some of the other things that you guys are putting together with this?
Another component is making sure you have a plan for evacuation. And that doesn't mean that you have to evacuate to a shelter. Lots of people plan to evacuate to a neighbor that lives in a community that's maybe not affected, not necessarily a next door neighbor, to a family member who lives maybe in another city or another state. So the main thing is have a plan if you need to evacuate your home. And then if you don't have someone like that, plan to evacuate to a shelter. There are some counties that put out their shelters in a great format. I know Polk County does that, which is fantastic. You can get those, the shelter maps every hurricane season. So make sure you pick one of those up and know where your nearby shelters are. And then there is even a list that Red Cross provides and Polk County provides for knowing what to take to a shelter. Lots of people kind of show up with their photo albums and their memories because they're worried they're going to go back to their home and some of those things are going to be gone. But when you go to a shelter, you need to go with the things that are going to keep you comfortable. You need to go and be prepared that you're going to be sitting with lots of other people, possibly for a couple of days in an emergency shelter where you're going to be safe, you're going to have food, but you're not going to have the comforts of home. So if you're bringing children with you, bring some books, bring some crayons, bring some coloring books. For yourself, bring some books to read and some things like that. Bring some snacks. If you have food allergies or you're a diabetic, make sure you're thinking about those food needs that you need for yourself.
What about for pets?
Well, and certainly you need to think about that ahead of time because some shelters are not the place that you bring pets. So you need to find out where's the place that I need to take my pet ahead of time. So the last thing you want to do is be trying to figure that out when you're in the middle of a very stressful situation. You want to find out where are the pet-friendly shelters, where are the places that you would need to take it to an actual animal facility where they're going to take care of your pet safely, and then you're going to go to the human shelter. And every place does it a little bit differently. Okay. So reach out and ask those good questions of your county ahead of time.
All right. Now, also, this preparedness campaign isn't just for people preparing, but it's also for Red Cross preparing.
Yes.
And you also have a big volunteer component that
yes.
goes on within your organization. Can you talk a little bit about that aspect?
Absolutely. This is about building capacity for Red Cross to be able to respond. We know that more people are flooding into the state of Florida, and we need to be able to build capacity to respond to all the people who are here in this state. So in order to do that, we need to build our volunteer base. So a lot of this is being able to encourage people to come and become volunteers with the Red Cross. So what we want to be able to do is get information out to people to let them know all the different ways that they can volunteer with the Red Cross, and then how to connect with us and become a volunteer. So a lot of people think that you just have to be ready to work in a shelter or to feed people, but we also have lots of other ways for people to become volunteers. You can help with youth clubs. We have a lot of high school clubs, clubs at universities, clubs for young professionals, and then clubs for seniors. We also have a lot of preparedness education. We have volunteers who are out in the community every day doing community events and talking about preparedness and how we can get people and families prepared. We also have health and mental health services. So there are nurses, retired nurses, EMTs, paramedics, firefighters who volunteer with the Red Cross. And there are folks who also are mental health workers who help us during either a single family home fire all the way up to a major disaster, who help with the emotional support that people need when they've been affected by a disaster. So there is just a huge gamut of ways that you can volunteer with the Red Cross. So if you go to our website, theredcross.org/mid-Florida, on the left-hand side of the homepage it says volunteer. Just click there and our application is there. And we need all types of people. So all ages, all types of schedules, so they're just a myriad of opportunities.
Now, if somebody doesn't want to go to the website, where is the office located here in Polk County?
We're actually on Avenue A Northwest, and then there's also a phone number, and I know we're going to provide that at the end of the show so that everybody can either come to the office, they can call our local phone number, or they can go to the website. So we have 3 different ways that people can connect with us, and we'll also provide our Facebook page and our Twitter handle as well. So we have lots of ways to connect with us.
Sounds good to me. Well, hopefully we won't need those disaster kits this year, but everyone will have them on hand for us.
Exactly. So we have to be prepared.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks.
The lesson in today's show is to always be prepared no matter what you might face coming with natural disaster. For more information, you can contact them at their Winter Haven office at 863-294-5941 or visit their website at redcross.org/mid-Florida, or for the Prepare Florida campaign, you can visit the website at redcross.org/Prepare Florida.